Welcome to the Cannabis Friends and 420 Bud Show. How are you doing today, Megan?
I'm doing great, Al. And let me just say, we have 10 amazing questions for you from the community today that we want to dive into. Are you ready?
Yep, for sure.
All right. The first question we have is from I Love RBK1.
hmm
And they say, yo, CBD counteracts the psychoactive effects of THC. Also, if one uses the tears as a suppository, the psychoactive effect isn't as strong. I don't know why you, didn't mention any of that. Also, THCA is not psychoactive. So if you can get that, try that as well. Al, can you elaborate on what they're talking about?
Okay, yeah. So what he's talking about is a video that I made that how to handle the high of Rick Simpson oil because it
Okay.
gets a lot of people like crazy high. So I made a video on that, and I think there's about 15,000 views on that. So it's one of the more popular videos that we have. And he's just saying that I didn't mention a couple things that can work as well. So like CBD can counteract the effects of the psychoactive effects of the THC high from the Rick Simpson oil, and we have found that to be true. That's one of the things how we started using CBD in the first place. So we discovered all the benefits from it, from actually initially using it to counteract the high from the Rick Simpson oil, which is so it was like an accidental way that we found the benefits for CBD. But to counteract the high, it's basically about 30 milligrams upwards to about 100 milligrams of CBD, and it can be pure crystalline CBD or the full spectrum. But pure crystalline CBD works super awesome. At trade shows, we used to give away free dab hits, and we give away free RSO capsules and tincture, whatever, and people would get really super high, and then sometimes, and then our workers, the people that were giving it out, they would do it with them sometimes, and they would like do like several doses, and they would get ultra high, and they couldn't function. And we're like, man,
You
we
gotta
couldn't
work.
really we couldn't stop them from doing doses, so we figured out a way to help them to minimize the
Gotcha.
effect, and it was through like for them it was about 30 milligrams, but it can be upwards of 50 to 100 milligrams of pure CBD to minimize the high from the RSO. So that is a key factor. And then also suppositories have been shown as well to minimize the high, and then the psychoactive effect. And then there's also THCA, which he also mentions in his question, or not his question, but his statement about the psychoactive effect. And THCA is basically the THC that is in its raw form. It has an acid molecule attached to it, and when it's in that raw form, it is not psychoactive. And so if you just do the raw THCA without it being what they call decarboxylated and put into its psychoactive form, then you won't get high taking that either. And there are
Okay.
a ton of benefits to it. And they say, and I've even seen it myself, and just through anecdotal observation, has seen it through people. In other words, through clients, that the pain relieving effects are greater with THCA than there are with delta 9 THC, which is
Hmm.
the psychoactive form.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is from at Crushed Skittles. I take RSO every night. Can you tell me why it takes 7 hours for the high to kick in? I don't take it for the high at all, but it sucks. I am always waking up at 3 or 4 a.m. very high. I even tried it during the day. I took it at noon and didn't feel high until 7:30 p.m. Is this normal?
Okay, so um, yeah, it's different with everybody, and it's really interesting. So, like most people don't take it for the highest. There's very few that do, and for the majority of people, it's going to take anywhere from 15 minutes to 45 minutes. Maybe as long as an hour and a half to kick in. Okay, but it can take longer for some people. You can never tell how long it's going to take too. Sometimes for the same person with the same exact dose and the same exact batch, one night it might kick in after 45 minutes, and the other night it might take an hour and a half. Right, so you never know. And then one night it might be from the same dose, super crazy psychoactive, and other nights like hey, I'm getting used to this. But then the next night, same dose, psychoactive again. So it's like body chemistry might have some things to do with what you ate that day. There's a bunch of different factors that may be involved. But there are certain people that where it does take super long time to kick in, and it could also change over time to where at first it affects you like really quick, and then later on it takes like a long time to kick in, and there's no real rhyme or reason for it. So like I have a personal experience from that where I used to be able to take it, about 2 hours before bed, and the high would start kicking in, like really hardcore. Sometimes it would kick in early, but it would kick in at least by that time. And I go to sleep and be able to sleep, through the night and wake up like super rested and stuff like that. But today it's different. It's like I'll take it and I'll remember to take it, like at 10 p.m. or something because I like to go to bed around midnight if I can. And so I'll take it at like 10 p.m. and if I remember correctly, and I'll do it and like around midnight, hoping I'll be sleepy. And that hasn't been the case for the past year or so. Like I've been like this normal staying up through the night, and it doesn't really affect me too hardcore anymore because I've been taking it for over a decade every day. So as far as that high thing, it does like sometimes like every once in a while I'll get super happy or whatever, and people will wonder, hey, you're happy, what's going on? But it's one of those things where it's like at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. like I'm starting to get super sleepy, and then I'll fall asleep like at 7 a.m. or something, and then wake up like at 11 or whatever, and I'll sort of blow the morning out, and it's a I'm sort of having to try to adjust to that. Do I have to take it earlier so it'll kick in at the right time or whatever? Is this gonna keep on doing that or whatever? And it's a sort of a long-winded way of saying there is no real rhyme or reason for what's going on with crushed Skittles, with his situation, with it coming on 7 hours after he takes it. It is something that isn't like totally common with everybody. Like more people, it kicks in quicker, within that half-hour to 2 hour window. But there are several people that it does take a long time to kick in, and it sort of messes with their schedule and their timing. And you just sort of have to adjust for it, or if you truly aren't, like if you're not taking it for the high and you're just taking it for a benefit, like for me to see, for other people to not have pain or to not have some other condition, then just break up the doses throughout the day into smaller doses. So like he's not saying how many milligrams he's taking for that one dose, but like I'm assuming it's a considerable amount. So let's just say it was 400 milligrams, that he's taking, or even just 200 milligrams. Let's say he's taking 200 milligrams, then for whatever condition he's taking it for, or even if it's just for sleep, but it's not working for him, then it must be something else then, that he's taking it for then. So in that case, break it up into at least 2 doses. But if it was me, then break it up into 4 doses, like 4 50 milligram doses throughout the day. So it won't get you tired. It won't get you high that way, and you'll get more of an even flow, and it'll work for you better that way anyways, because taking it throughout the day is better than taking it once a day. So like taking it twice a day, morning and night, it's not just twice as effective, it's 3 or 4 times as effective. And I'm not talking about taking more, I'm talking about taking the same amount, right? So like that guy taking 200 milligrams, doing 4 50 milligram doses that will equal that 200 milligrams throughout the day would probably serve him better. But like somebody that takes 100 milligrams once a day, if they take 50 milligrams in the morning, 50 milligrams in the evening, their results will be 3 or 4 times better, not just twice as good or the same. And I've tested it on with a variety of different conditions on hundreds of different people, including myself, to get to those conclusions. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yes, it does. Our next question is from @LavishPeasant. Great name, Lavish Peasant. I did a right-sized dose, and I only felt it for 5 minutes. I then did about 5 doses of a grain of rice and lasted 15 minutes. Didn't do much for me. Didn't feel anything body-wise either. Can you elaborate on why?
Okay, so there's a couple different things going on there. What the person is saying is that they took it, and as far as the psychoactive effects, they felt just a little tiny bit, and for a very, very short period of time. The grain of rice usually will, the first time somebody takes it, even if they smoke weed, it'll get them very high. And 5 grains of rice will definitely get somebody very high, and it'll last them a while. It could last several hours. So only lasting 5 minutes or even 15 minutes for the 5 grains of rice. That's not typical. Okay, it's seen in people for sure, but it's not typical. And for someone like myself, I require way more than that to feel effects of it. It's because I'm an outlier myself. But aside from going over that part of it, the one of the things that can be in play is that the RSO isn't effective. Period. Right? It just has very low amounts of THC. It wasn't extracted properly, and it might have a bunch of contaminants in it, and very low amounts of cannabinoids and terpenes and all the other beneficial nutrients in there. So that's one thing to look out for, on that end, because that could happen, and it happens all the time, right? So with dispensary RSO and with one that you get from, just off the streets. And then on the other side of that, as far as does body chemistry and the way your body reacts to the psychoactive effects of THC. And so certain people, they're very sensitive to it. Some people react just like as people generally do. They get super high at first, and then they could get adjusted to it. The other people that are sensitive, like they're almost like what they say, allergic to it. And they get like panic attacks and a bunch of different things going on. That's on a side note, could be that they're doing a sativa instead of an indica, which is what is preferred with the RSO. And that's one of the reasons why, is because we need you to relax and rest and not be freaked out, and that kind of a thing. But getting back to the not getting high, and why is that? The it has to do with body chemistry. As long as the material is good, it has to do with the body chemistry. And the him saying that they don't feel anything body wise either is like that's the psychoactive effect as well. Because like, how are you going to feel yourself actually healing, right? Like you could know when you have pain and don't have pain, but you don't know, like, as you're taking something, that it's healing you, right? And that's it. And that's some kind of a the pain relieving effects of the CBD, where the pain doesn't go, the pain goes away or something like that. But actual healing going on, you don't feel that. That's something that happens internally. That like a restructuring going on. There's like these things like healing crisis that could happen that are ill effects that scare people, that make them stop doing things. Like they'll stop taking the CBD or the RSO. Because they think something bad's happening, but it's actually good happening inside them. And when they get out to the other side, they actually feel better. But as far as the high has nothing to do with the healing part. Okay, the high and the healing are separate. So the best example of that is me. And when I started going blind after taking it for 3 years, when I had stopped the progression of my glaucoma, and after taking it for 3 years from the same exact extractors, it was like it had stopped working, and I started going blind again. And I thought that it had just run its course, and it wasn't effective for me anymore. And what had happened is that they stopped making it correctly, and they were, basically, for lack of a better term, they were overcooking it and burned up the therapeutic effect. So that part wasn't working anymore, but I was still getting super high off of it. So I thought it was still, because I was still in that mindset too, because I was still learning about it. So I thought that the high, had to do. So I'm still getting high. So it still must be, it's still working, but I'm going blind. So I must be different now. And no, the oil was different because, from the story, that I found other oil, and I was able to get my eyesight back. And that's why I started the company. So I never have to go blind again, et cetera. So the high has nothing to do with the healing. So as long as you have good oil, just keep on taking it, and the healing will happen. And the dosages are the same, because like the CBD FECO, you don't get high off of that at all. There is no psychoactive effect. It increases cognitive ability, increases short-term memory, like reactive time, all that kind of stuff. It does not hinder you in that way at all, and there is zero psychoactive effects. So, and the milligram strengths are the milligram strengths. So you just keep on doing them, and you'll get those therapeutic benefits from them, even if you're not feeling the high effects, or if you're feeling them minimally and just for a short period of time. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. All right. Our next question is from @SarahBrooks2484. And Sarah asks, I have a question about suppositories. What base did you use for your suppositories and RSO? I'm using coconut oil, but it melts very quickly.
All right, awesome. That's a great question. It's one we get here all the time at Movida and MyFitLife. So coconut oil is not what you want to use, because coconut oil has a melting point at 76 degrees. So once it hits 76 degrees, it's going to liquefy, literally. So if you're going to use something that's coconut based, what is used is coconut butter, and because it's more shelf stable at room temperature. Okay, but even better than that, and what's more shelf stable, and in other words, it stays more solid at room temperature, is cacao butter, CACAO, and it's basically the butter that's derived from the cacao bean, which is a chocolate bean, and you can find it at any health food store like Whole Foods or Sprouts or whatever, and online. So those are the two options that are better than coconut oil, much better. And excuse me, for those that aren't aware, suppositories are they're a way of ingesting the RSO or the full extract cannabis oil rectally, through your bum instead of orally. And there's a number of reasons why people do that. And there's molds that you could buy, just like ice cube molds off of Amazon or the internet, and you put the cacao butter or the coconut butter into those molds, and then inject the amount of RSO that you want in there. And then you can put them in the refrigerator, and they'll form up, and then you put them up your bum, and let it take its course. The other option to that, that some people do, is they'll put they'll get the 1 gram syringes. That's why those are popular too. And they'll just put it up their bum and just squeeze what they want up there. And especially if you're doing the whole gram, you just squeeze that whole thing up, in their bum, and then just do that route, because it's sort of like a path to least resistance. And an example of that is we have a chiropractor that works with us, and he personally does it for his gout, and he does it for the long haul. He buys 60-gram kits, so 60 grams at a time, because just to save money. And he does it that way, because he used to do it with the suppositories, but he's been doing it for so long. He just does it, just puts it out there because the path of least resistance, because he's been doing it so long. But again, just to reiterate, don't use coconut oil for suppositories. Rather use coconut butter, or better yet, cacao butter, and then you could also just put the 1 gram syringe up your bum and put it up that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
Our next question is from Nick Rosati, 3167. My mother has cancer and is trying to use RSO, but it makes her too high. Will RSO suppositories work? Will it be effective? Thank you for any information.
Okay, so for those that aren't aware, suppositories are a way of ingesting the full extract cannabis oil rectally. Okay, and it can definitely work and be very, very effective. Some people actually like the suppositories better than taking it orally. There's others that don't like it. Like it doesn't work well for me in particular, just for my body. But I know people that will not do it any other way because they say it works better for them. And then also, it does not get you high, which is what he was asking about for his mom. So it helps to minimize the high, so you either don't feel it, or it greatly, like we mentioned, minimizes it, so it's tolerable. Because that's one of the things for people that have not ever been high in their life. When they take it and they get too high, it's like, I'd rather have my condition than get that high. And it doesn't make any sense to me. But there are so many people that I'll just deal with cancer rather than getting high, and they'll take the chemo or whatever. And like, if they could just do a suppository and minimize the high or not have it at all, and that's a way for them to do it, then by all means do it that way. And just so you know, there was a question asked previously, the base that you would want to use is cacao butter or coconut butter. Cacao butter is more preferred because it's more stable at room temperature, or more firm at room temperature, so you can put it up your bum more easily, and not have a big mess. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Our next question is from Thomas Wills, 1204. I made my own RSO, but I don't get high. Just super tired and really struggling to get going after I wake up. Please help.
Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of things with that. So he's making his own, and he's not getting high, but he's getting super tired, and and that is one of the things with the RSO. If you do get super tired, you can just like get like almost that mummification where, until you actually let yourself rest, it's hard to get going. Almost like you have lead in your shoes, like, oh, I can't get going. So that's one of those things. But the not getting high part, it could be body chemistry for sure, but a lot of times if you're making your own, there's the raw THC has an acid molecule connected to it, like it's THCA, right? And you have to put it through this process called decarboxylation in order to knock off that acid molecule and actually make it psychoactive. And they say that and it's actually called delta 9 THC at that point. So it goes from THCA to delta 9 THC. And a lot of people claim that a lot of the benefits and the cancer fighting benefits are from the delta 9 THC as opposed to the THCA. All right. So you have to know how to decarboxylate, because there's a process besides just the extraction from the plant and the solvent recovery where you just go that brings it down to the raw oil. There's a decarboxylation process that's involved as well. So you have to go through that in order to make it psychoactive in order to be able to feel the high. So he might not have done that because he's doing it on his own. And that's why it's good to have somebody that knows what they're doing to actually make it for you, and unless you're going into business to help other people as a cannabis caregiver. If you're doing it for yourself, then just let somebody else make it because they have the experience. And there are some benefits of THCA, and especially with topicals and stuff like that, because it has a lot of pain relieving benefits. And sometimes we'll play around depending on what kind of a condition a person has. If we're doing like a custom formulation for somebody, like someone like myself that understands all of these principles and that has done it for like over a decade, I could do like a custom formulation that has like somewhere around 70% delta 9 THC, 30% THCA within the RSO or full extract cannabis oil. And so you got the hardcore effects of the traditional RSO with some increased pain relieving effects from the THCA, and it's really super awesome. So, but yeah, there's that's what's going on with it basically. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right, awesome.
Our next question is from Michael Esposito 239. Michael asks, "How do people afford 1 gram per day? It's like $40 a gram, like $1,200 per month, which is basically a rent payment."
Yeah, for sure, and that's a question that comes up a lot, and there is a financial factor involved, for people, and there is a financial factor involved with anybody. So when you're talking about $40 a day, the gram a day, that's a hardcore condition that somebody has, meaning like life threatening, or like something that could take your eyesight, that could greatly affect every single second of your life in an adverse way. So is it worth that? For number one, and then what are the alternatives, and how much do they cost? Number two. Okay. So, what's your life worth to you? And what's, like, for me, what's my eyesight worth to me? That was one of the biggest decisions I had, because at the point that I was at, when I was doing that, I had just spent all my money on a business. I didn't even really have money to do this. And I was going blind. And I was like, what do I do? Pay bills or pay for this? I was literally at that point, so I understand the question completely. Okay. Completely. But there's a couple of factors to understand, and I'll go over one of the big ones at first. So with cancer, for instance, or with glaucoma or whatever, there's or heart disease, whatever. There's a ramp up phase where you do that gram a day or 800 milligrams a day or whatever it is, like what we call a macro dose, where you do a full frontal assault on the condition. Like it's trying to take you out, so you do everything you can to take it out. And there's no side effects to the RSO or FECO. There's only side benefits, I like to say. So you can do that macro dose, and the more you do, the better that you will get. But like, you're only doing that for a short period of time, to overcome the condition. Once you overcome the condition, then you taper down into a maintenance phase, which is much less. So, for instance, with cancer, which is one of the most hardcore conditions, if you're doing the gram a day and it's $40 a day, you might do that for 3 months or 6 months, even a year. Then, however much that costs, after you're done with that and you've overcome the condition, as long as you're successful, then you taper down into a maintenance phase, which could be like 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams a day, which is a tenth or a fifth, 20% of a gram. So it's like 20% of that $40 or 10% of that $40, which is $4 or $8 a day. So at that point, that's doable to maintain. So even if it was, like $1,200 a month, and it took you a year, that's what, like $15,000, but you overcame your stuff, and you're going to get some awesome benefit if you did a gram a day for a year. It's crazy awesome, and most people, like, if they're going to overcome their condition, they're going to overcome it like way sooner than that, usually within 45 to 90 to 120 days. Like 80% of the people are going to overcome it within that window of time, and then the other 10% or so, it takes about a year, and then there's some outliers that take a little bit longer than that. But as far as that, even if it did take you a year and it took you $15,000 to overcome, and then just $8 a day to maintain, that's a drop in the bucket compared to traditional cancer therapy. And if you think, oh my, well, I have insurance, it bankrupts you. Well, like, the biggest reason for bankruptcy in the United States and in the world now is medical bills. It bankrupts you, and don't fool yourself. Like a glaucoma medication. People say, "Well, I can't afford it. It costs over $400, $600 or more now for glaucoma medication a month for people that have insurance. For people that have insurance, it costs them that much now. Okay, for people that don't, it costs them over $1,000. All right, for their life. All right, not just for a short period of time. It never goes down to that $8, a day. So think about that. Then with cancer, I have a friend, who was, paying for the RSO herself, and sort of struggling to pay it, because it costs money, right? And she has other stuff going on as well. And then when you have cancer, there's a bunch of stuff that's thrown at you. But she had opportunity to do a more traditional protocol, which involved like a new form of chemo or whatever, and her family paid for it, right? Which happens often, because the person can't afford it. So it not just bankrupts you, but it bankrupts the family. It takes the family's wealth away. Besides bankrupting that person, it takes the familial wealth away, and so that she spent $36,000 on a 6-week program, right? 6 weeks, and it made her worse, right? So it's not so that $40 a day is nothing to overcome the condition. And after hearing that, what I just mentioned, if it still is, then you're sort of lost, and just go do whatever it is you're going to do. Your life isn't important to you at that point. And it's sort of a cruel thing to say, but it's the truth. Like money to me is nothing. You just go work harder and make more. If it comes to that, and for that period of time, and then fucking don't. If you there's all kinds of different computer jobs. You don't have to go out and do physical things anymore. I find a way, be resilient, and do whatever is necessary to overcome your condition. Be a warrior. Because that's the mindset that it takes to win and overcome a condition like cancer, to overcome a condition like glaucoma. You can't be a fucking pussy about it. You have to be a warrior and say, I'm gonna beat you. You're not gonna win. I'm winning, and I'm gonna take your ass out. And that's the mindset that you have to have around the whole thing, including the financial part. All right. So and I know that gets in a little bit of a rant, but that's the truth, and that's what people need to hear. And there's no like dancing around it. That's the reality of the situation. And if that's a harsh reality, then too bad, because so is cancer, so is glaucoma. It fucking takes your ass out. In a big way. And this can save your life. That's not worth $40 a day. To me it is. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And you're very passionate about this topic, as you should be. And again, key takeaway: how much is your life worth?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, our next question is from Sarah Willow 9104. Sarah asks, "Hi, my poor Lenny has lymphoma. I've got oil coming today. I was wondering if you know about RSO while he's on steroids. Will it still work? Please reply."
Okay, so we're not sure really if Lenny is like a person, like a son or a husband, or a pet, like like a little doggy. But and then also not sure if the steroids are like corticosteroids for medical stuff or if they're anabolic steroids for competition. But the answer would be the same for all of the above. Okay, there are no adverse effects that the CBD or the CBD FECO or the high THC FECO, any of those would have on being taken in conjunction with steroids. It just help you to heal better. And if the steroids have a beneficial effect on the person or an animal, then it will help that to work even better. And just so you know, like for people that are that it's being used like for some kind of events or something like that, it actually helps you to recover better and all that kind of stuff too. It's very, very interesting. But yeah, there's no adverse effects. I have like in the course of my entire decades of working with cannabis oils, and then over a decade of working with Rick Simpson Oil and full extract cannabis oil specifically, I have not once seen anybody have an adverse reaction or has anybody reported any adverse reaction to any medication ever in the history of Movida and MyFit Life. So we'll just leave it with that.
Thank you. Our next question is from Jen R2120. And this is a testimonial that has good points for Al to elaborate on. Jen says, I now do RSO as a suppository. I just got off 20 years of pain meds after having broke my neck, back, and both feet. Anyways, those suppositories are the only way to go for large amounts of RSO. I'm on suppository at 250 milligrams, which is a quarter gram each dose, and no high this way. If I take it orally, heck yeah, I can get super high. Al, what do you got from this?
Okay, so there's a few different things with this, and one thing that I'll mention is, so she got a severe injury, like broke her neck, back, and both feet, right? So there's like crazy amounts of injury and pain, and that's like the whole chain, of movement basically for you. So you suffer a lot with that, and you get prescribed pain meds, and there's a possibility of getting like an opioid addiction from that. So we're not saying that Jen had that per se, but like it's prevalent in the United States to get an opioid addiction from pain meds, and that's one of the big things that full extract cannabis oil is good for, and CBD in and of itself is to help people to overcome that and give them an alternative path that works better and is much healthier as well. Okay, so that being said, the suppositories they do minimize the high of the RSO or FECO, and some people feel that the suppositories work better and they really enjoy it that way. But and if you're doing large doses on a daily basis, and then generally the like she's doing like 250 milligrams, or quarter gram at a time. So that could definitely get you high if you're doing it orally, no matter who you are. So and if you're doing that during the day and you have to work, you don't want that, right? So so doing the suppository could minimize that. There are, however, people that don't do well with suppositories. Like I for whatever reason, I don't do well with them. Like I hear other people praise them, and I've tried them, and it doesn't work for me for some reason. And for those kind of people, then you can't do that. So you have to do it orally, and especially if you're one of those people that either are at risk for being addicted to opioids or have been addicted to opioids because you were on pain meds for decades, then that would scare you, and you almost want to deal with the pain, or do regular medications and deal with the side effects as opposed to have a quote unquote another addiction, right? So for those people, you do the CBD FECO, okay, and that is the best alternative because the CBD FECO actually works better than the THC FECO for pain, okay, for chronic pain, for pain from surgery, like recovering from surgery, from injury, and from like people that have had decades of chronic pain, either from an injury or surgery that they never recovered from fully, or neuropathies that they've developed, like numbness, tingling, like the dull pains, the hot knife stabbing pains, all that kind of stuff. They are better relieved, better success with the CBD FECO than the THC FECO, and it does not get you high. So you could either do the CBD FECO, you do them suppository wise as well, but you could do it orally, not worry about getting high, get the awesome beneficial effects from it, do it all throughout the day, which is better than doing super large doses. Doing smaller doses throughout the day is much better as well. So all of those things put into consideration, the CBD FECO is the way to go for people that are in massive amounts of pain, that have found that the THC FECO works for them, but they don't want to get high, for the two reasons where either they were at risk or are addicted to opioids, or they just can't get high because of work, or they want to take care of their family, or whatever reason that it is, or they just don't like getting high, which is a bunch of people that just don't like getting high. Then the CBD FECO is the ultimate alternative for them. And like we said, it works even better for pain, instances, both neuropathy kind of pains and chronic pains from injury and surgery. So it is the best alternative, and that's why I'm so proud of it. It's gonna be 2 years to develop that beyond the THC version. Like it took me 2 more years, and I developed it for myself because I had to work and function to help people, in a logical manner all throughout the day, because I deal with people with hardcore conditions. I have to think, and be on my toes during the day. So the CBD FECO is what enables me to be able to take doses throughout the day, maintain my eyesight, and then take the high THC ones at night, because I do enjoy getting high, and then getting the benefits as well, like the being able to see.
Right.
But yeah, hopefully that answers the question about that.
Yes, thank you. This next question is from JMO Johnson 7762. Would you recommend full extract cannabis oil, or FECO, for depression? I've tried all the meds. None of them seem to work. Please help.
Okay, awesome. Now remember that we don't guarantee success or anything like that, but there is no success really for depression, with the general allopathic methods, like the American Medical Association, Big Pharma, etc. They oftentimes make matters worse. So over here at Movida, MyFitLife, that is one of the things that we have the greatest success with. It is depression, anxiety, stress, depression. It's amazing that the success that can be had, and how quickly it can be had as well. For some people, it's almost instant, like the first day that they take it, and other people it takes a couple weeks or so. But it's really amazing. And if they were on meds, they're able to come off of them. But like this person mentions, that the meds just simply do not work. And it is amazing for depression. Just real quick, like depression is sort of like an imbalance in your body, and the cannabinoids are responsible for homeostasis, which is balance in your body. So that balances out the different systems in your body, balances you out hormonally, so basically chemically. And they say this is a chemical imbalance, depression. So you're at one extreme, and you just get balanced out. So the condition, which in this case is the depression, it magically just disappears, and you feel like a human being again, and you're able to get out there and participate in life. It's super awesome.
Love it. Thank you, Al. That is the last of our 10 questions on this series. If
Awesome.
anyone watching, has any questions on RSO, how to take it, where to get it, all of the above, comment below, and we will get that question answered by Al directly. Al, that's all that I have on my end. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, well, there is one thing. I received a text message just like about 3 or 4 hours ago from a client, and I thought I would share it on here before we do leave. So let me just pull it up here real quick. So it's from a woman. She actually has breast cancer, and I did a video about like when the morphine stops working, and the FECO, can help, right? And she sent me a text message, and it said, "Most definitely, when you were talking about morphine not working, I know the pain those people go through. I would count the hours down until I could start my dosing of RSO in the evening because it helped. I was really bad, Al. Thank you for creating this." And she has a heart there. So I just wanted to share that, because they told her like don't take the RSO during the day and whatever, and she only going to take it at night and all this kind of stuff. So that's a really heartwarming little testimonial there that I thought I just wanted to share.
Thank you for sharing that.
Awesome. So that concludes this episode of Cannabis Friends and 420 Buds. Be sure to leave any questions or comments below and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy this type of content. Reach out to support at myfitlife.net or schedule a complimentary call if you have questions about RSO or FECO, how to take it, or where to get it. This is Al Morentin.
And I'm Megan Hall.
And we are the hosts of Cannabis Friends and 420 Buds. I hope you have a beautiful day. Peace.
Peace.